Hello and welcome. This is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
You know, that's just one step above stupid. Did you hear what I said?
What's going on, freaks? All right. Looks like my camera's all whacked out. Hold on. Well, Denny Adviev, the Portland Trailblazers, made the All-Star team. That's pretty cool. He's not playing tonight, but... Candace Owens wouldn't like him, though. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's, you know, every time you look into, you know, this whole blood situation in terms of transfer and different, you know, elements like, I mean, the blood spatter, etc. You know, it's, I was looking at it today because it looks, I mean, it looks difficult to have created the transfer if it was like Kohberger. I mean, you know, I mean, I guess anybody could have done it, like we were talking about, the transfer of the blood on that rail there on the outside, the other side, the inside, where the steps are. Okay, so I thought, you know what? Why don't I check the body camera footage to see if we can see that blood transfer on the stairs, okay? And maybe that could help indicate, at least eliminate that it was other people, like forensics, and then it kind of, you know, can I narrow it down to it either being hunter or maybe law enforcement? I mean, the first people there, okay? I don't know if that's interesting to you guys or not. But hey, guys, this is our first night of the month, and I was hoping we could try to get a good start to the month. It always makes it difficult when, you know, we have nights that aren't good at the beginning of a month. And so I was just going to show you guys the last year, what we did in terms of donations, all right, before we get going on that. So look at this. I mean, look at all these different places. And actually, you know what? We're 4,000 more total. I guess I just wasn't adding it up over the years very well. But I added up all those years together, and look what we're actually at. 283,112. I had it at 279 because I must have missed putting an update on the grand total at some point, because these here are set in stone. So I actually added all those up plus the 3,000 we've done this year so far, and we're at 283,112 instead of 279 like I had. So that's pretty amazing. You know, 4,000 extra. But look at right here, we got are you guys there? Are we done with the hellos? Right here it says Texas Echo Search. Last year we gave 3,500. Wounded Warriors, we gave 1,000. RAIN, we gave 3,000. That's violence against women. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 4,021. I must have covered the handling fee or whatever the hell they call that. And then Ethan Smile Scholarship, we gave 2,000 to. And then Bold.org, our scholarship fund for fallen freaks, 9,700. And then Turning Point USA, after Charlie Kirk was killed, 1,500. Made with Kindness, that's for the girls, Madison, Mogen, Kaylee, etc. Right, 1,500 there. So we gave 3,500 back to the victims of the Idaho 4 murder case. All right, and then we have Tunnel to Towers. We gave 500. The Libby Abbey Ballpark, we gave 1,000, even though that case has been over. And then American Online Giving, I don't remember what that was related to, but we gave 500. And then Sherry Black Foundation, and I think somebody suggested I do that one time, and we did it. 1,180 and 18 cents. I must have covered their fee. And then Project Lifesaver, 1,000. The Red Cross, 500. And then Intermountain Forensics, which it identifies Jane and John Doe's, 15,300. So for all you trolls out there, F you, okay? Go screw yourselves. All right, so there we have it. I just think that's really pretty amazing, right? That we, throughout the whole year, I try to raise funds every single night, and we're currently at 0, you guys. You can see on the screen. So if you guys can help support the channel, the video today crashed and burned yet again right out of the gate. So if you guys have the ability to please help support the channel to get this month started off correctly, that would be awesome. All right, let's not have some of these nights we've been having. Not sure what's going on there. All right, so there we go, and we're at 283 something. Yeah, the trolls never tell you that part. They always go, oh, that gray guy, he's always... And they're just disgusting, sick people. It'd be like if you said, you showed somebody being an ass, and then, or a bad moment on a show, and then during the show, they went out and, gave thousands of dollars to charities, but you never show that part. You just do the part where they had a bad moment during a show. And then that's what they show everybody, and then everybody goes, oh, yeah, wow, that guy, wow. Sick. All right, so can we not remain at 0, you guys? Thank you. Yeah, Jesus, another night. All right, so anyways, I thought it would be kind of interesting to look at the surveillance, the body cameras that some of the officers are wearing to see if we could actually spot the blood transfer. All right. So we go on to Nunez's body camera. He gets in there.
Up here? Up here. You got it all
and you never can see it because it's just off to the right there. Okay, but you remember when Officer Warner got there, remember how Nunez said, don't bother, he was running up the stairs and then he turned. That was a perfect time for that. All right, here we go. Yeah, so this is pretty cool, actually. So here we go. And he says slow down, and then he turns. And it's just way more complicated now, because I think that's it right there. This right here is absolutely the transfer. And then, but the problem is there's this 12-pack of beer right there. Okay, so you tell me how the hell it got there. All right. So that's the problem. See, I can tell you that that's the same mark. See that? And see the door opening over there? And if we go back to here, there's the door opening. Here's the mark. It's the same mark. It's the same general shape. It's just not as clear, right? But there's this beer here. Now, did somebody take it off the floor right before law enforcement got there and put it there? Because if that was there, how in the hell did a hand go around the side of the 12 pack and put that there? You get what I'm saying? You know? I mean, is it possible that that's, you know, blood from Ethan from another day, just sort of, you know, partying kind of thing? Do you guys get what I'm saying or not? And how come we're still at 0, you guys? I mean, putting in links for other people doesn't really help out. We need the people that are watching to help support the channel, okay? We're starting a new month here. Yeah, we don't know of any of that stuff. I'm just trying to tell you, I don't think that this is... It's weird, okay? And it's exactly where you expect it to be. Here's the edge, and there's that. And then we look at this right here. And if we go up there, the edge is, if you went to there, the edge would be right there. And then here's the mark just down the way a little bit. And you can see that even all the way down there, there's no other smudges that look exactly the same as this and this one. That's the same one. It's right there. Thanks, Richard, Watts, and Bryce. But does everybody agree that that is absolutely the same transfer mark right there? I mean, it sucks that it's not as, you know, it's not HD or whatever, but that's the only thing. Look at it. I mean, you would see it over here if it wasn't that. And that's exactly the same shape. A line there, and then it kind of goes up like that. Right? You see that? Now, this is just way more light on it, so it looks like that. Right, so since that's the same, how did this get there? So this was, I'm just going to say this. If it was Kohberger or somebody else in the house that was walking by, this 12-pack here couldn't have been there when that was put there. I mean, what are you doing? Reaching around the box to put it there? Don't you see how that's a little weird? I mean, just unusual. It's just... and it's there. It's there the whole time. I mean, you see him. Here, we'll just play it.
Police department.
God, it's so... You gotta really zoom in because it's...
Police department.
Okay, so he'd already gone up there. Let's see. Right here.
Slow down.
And why would you put it there? Yeah, maybe a lot of stuff, Lexi. We're always saying maybe, 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 maybe. We don't know, you know? It just doesn't make sense. The only person that could have moved it is Hunter, okay? Because that was there when Nunez was there, okay? It was already sitting there. So let's go look at Nunez really quick. He comes up, and by the way, let's just rewind it a little bit. I'm gonna go all the way back.
Up here? Up here, up here. You got it all from that someone, you know, they were working normal, and I just came in checking
team. Okay, do it.
I don't know if there's still in here or not.
Look, it's right there. See? So that means it was there before Nunez got there. Isn't that just perplexing, right? It's perplexing. There's no way that I just can't see why anybody would reach around that. So that means that that was there right then. Okay? So when law enforcement got there, there was this 12-pack sitting on the railing there. Now, somebody might have moved it. Maybe Hunter, you know, the only option you have is Hunter and other people before law enforcement got there to put it there. You see what I'm saying? Oh boy, I already got a dead as a doornail chat here. Do you guys hear this? Hello? Sure. So if it was there when they're playing the drinking game, how did the blood get there? Okay, so that, now that if you believe that, Notorious Nance, then how did the blood get on the railing? I mean, I'll show it to you again. They obviously removed there was blood right here. I mean, not blood, a 12-pack right here blocking a hand from being able to smear on this. God, you guys, what do you mean beer pong, beer pong, beer? Just focus a little bit, okay? Say, look, there's the transfer. This was there when law enforcement got there. So either this was put there after or before law enforcement got there. And, I mean, if you were playing beer pong with it, how did a transfer mark make it to right there? On the, like, you'd have to reach around the box to grab the railing to put it there. Yeah, I mean, so the only thing that makes sense is that the box was put up there after the homicides, between 4:20 and noon. You know, 4:20 or, you know, 4:19 in the evening and noon. That's it. That's the only thing that makes sense. Okay, you guys, we're currently at $2.73. Is there any chance? I mean, my channel relies on you guys supporting the channel. This is the first day of the second month, and we need to have a better start than this. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, that would be great. That's what has allowed us to survive as a channel and donate $283,000 over the last 6 years. So that's all I can tell you is this had to have been put there, or the blood got there some other way. You know? I just explained it to you, Armadillo. That doesn't make any sense. The smear goes right to left, first of all. And it's also, if you look at the video, how would you be touching there? You know, the smear goes from right to left that way. So somebody's going that direction. They even said that in the documents. Yeah, it's Ethan Chapin's blood. We've gone over this 1,000 times, you guys. What do you mean, do we know whose blood it is? Jesus, we did a whole video on it today. Talked about it last night. You think the box was moved there before law enforcement after? Right. Right. That's what we think, but we don't get to know that. I'm just telling you it's weird, okay? That's all there is to it. They obviously took that down and then took photos later. But this is right when Officer Nunez got here. You know, when Nunez got there, that's all there was. Hey, thanks, Chris. All right, thank God somebody actually heard me. Appreciate it. Wasn't even last night wasn't our greatest on the show either, but we still managed to donate $3,000 this last month. So thank you guys for those who helped out during the month. That's Hunter Johnson standing there in sandals. Man, are people just seeing this for the first time, or it's wild? Yeah, so that's Hunter Johnson. And let's just go back to Nunez. So Nunez is the very first guy to arrive at the scene. He's right here. And he goes up the stairs. So he's literally following Hunter up the stairs just after he was on the phone with the 911 operator and had gone up another time. You know, here's something I would say is, we now know for certain that it wasn't EMS, it wasn't Nunez, it wasn't Warner, it wasn't anybody that came in later. And I told you guys that in the video, that law enforcement likely would investigate something like that. And they know that that wasn't put there. That's why they focus on it, taking pictures, even doing DNA analysis on it. And that's because that is actually, we now know that you can rule out any of those people, the paramedics, Nunez, Warner, any other officer that got there. All right, we can do that. Are you guys on the same page? We can rule out everybody else. And so here's what I would think is, I think it's probably the case is that when Hunter went up the stairs, if you go down the stairs, if I remember correctly, weren't there some other drinks on the stair, like right there? You know, maybe that's one of the, maybe there was a 12-pack on the stairs here, and he picked it up and placed it up there to clear the steps as he's going up, right? And then he put it there. And so that's why so I think what we can do now is, you know, I mean, Hunter did go in there while he was on 911 and check pulses and things. So he's literally, I would say, the only person other than Kohberger that could have left that there. But I don't think law enforcement believes that, because they're, you know, wouldn't Hunter have said, hey, I touched something, look, I've got something on my hand. Somebody would have said something, and it might have been on that knife that he laid down, and it just, I think it just proves that that smear was likely made by Kohberger, I would say, at this point. Yeah, and I think he just probably picked up the can off the, let's see if we can figure out what. And there's cans all over the place. There's one right there.
Slow down.
So I would imagine that was down somewhere on the stairs and it was lifted up to put up there. But it's amazingly, I mean, just like, what are the odds? For example, if this was placed 5 inches to the left, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't know. But because it's right in the middle where the actual transfer mark is, then that causes a problem because nobody's reaching around to place that there. So anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting. What about you guys? I'm not sure why you're sending me something about a biological lab or anything. I don't get it. Anyways. I wonder if you can see any of the other stuff. Because there is blood on this wall over here, or like right off to the right there. Can't really see that either. But I like to try to back engineer cases. That's how I figure stuff out. Yeah, so that's exactly where it was. And see, interestingly, we can see where it was in relation to the Pong table. So if Kohberger, who likely is the one who transferred it there, he obviously was going around the Pong table that way. And yeah, like somebody mentioned that maybe he was just, after he killed everybody, he was sort of disoriented, and then he exits the room, and then he goes down, and he just kind of, isn't really focused on what he's doing, and kind of just goes out through the opening here, and is like, oh, and then he goes around that way. He doesn't just quickly turn right. He doesn't live there. So I thought you guys would find that interesting. I wish I had seen that before I made my video today, because I think that it's just really interesting. And I also think it's kind of cool to try to figure out why something is happening. And so you can see that's actually there, and you wouldn't be able to leave that transfer mark there, so we might just assume that Hunter put that there. Now, if law enforcement knows that he didn't put that there, then that's makes it weird. Then there's a weirder, how would that have got there? Then you'd say, well, maybe it's a dried blood from another time. Can they tell how fresh a blood stain is if it's already dry? Who knows? Yeah. So there you go. And see, that's what you get on this channel. We use common sense, logic, and reason, not crazy conspiracy nutjob theories. What's the latest theory that's out there? And we have 0 channel memberships gifted, you guys. So if you guys could please help support the channel, that would be great. We're already 30 minutes in, and another woefully slow start. Yeah, we know how it all went, Allie. We covered the case since the beginning. Everybody knows. She went down the stairs, had nowhere near there. She wouldn't have touched anything that had anything to do with Ethan on it. And she wouldn't reach her hand up to the left going down the stairs when there's actually handrails. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Jim Lawn. Why watch that? Unless Brian thought about going downstairs after it. Yeah. Yeah, but either way, he walked by there. And I mean, the only other option is Hunter. That's it. It's just Hunter, who went in and checked to see if they had a pulse, could have left that there. And we're just not aware of it. But it seems like law enforcement would have asked questions and figured out that that is an actual transfer blood that was left there, quote, naturally, whatever you want to say. It wasn't done by, or as part of the crime, I guess is what I'm trying to say. No, I haven't, D. Victor. Not interested. Man. Do they have, are they're releasing crime scene photos in that one? The au pair trial. I think we covered that a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why are they releasing crime scene photos? Are there bodies in them? And I mean, it just seems strange on YouTube that they would. I don't know. Send me a link or something. I'm doing something else right now, as you can tell, right? I always think it's strange when people interrupt the show and want to talk about something totally different. Yeah, so here's D right here. Yeah, it said stain D is located on the north side of the wooden ledge of the hall wall in the living room. Stain D was tested for presumptive presence of blood and was positive. Stain D is a transfer blood stain. And it turns out it was Ethan Chapin being the primary contributor. There is no physical evidence to indicate that Ethan Chapin was ever outside the bedroom after sustaining his bloodletting injuries. Yeah, we're still at 0 gifted channel memberships, you guys. The location, and then there's also 23, 24, and 27, diluted blood, cast off, created when blood is released. The appearance of bloodstains reveal that blood has been diluted by another liquid. Testing of stains from the north wall of the stairs show a mixture of DNA. And in some of these, it actually says that they think that the other liquid might be, something related to, like bodily fluids that aren't blood, in the nasal cavity, something like that. Let me see if that's in here. Hold on. Yeah, that's what they were saying, anyways. In some of the the sections there, it said that. All right. It's complicated. Huh? What are you referring to? All right. Didn't they say Xana's blood starts at the doorway and she had been stabbed? I don't know. In the back a few times. I don't know, man. We've already gone over this 1,000 times. Let's see. I thought you meant under Brian's nails. Yeah, so let's go down to that one section that we went over last night. But the problem is last night, we have donation night, the last day of each month, where we donate the thousands of dollars. We did $1,500 last night and $1,500 during the month, making it $3,000. And tonight is just the beginning of the next month. And thank you, Jim Lawn. That's the first gifted membership tonight. We're currently at 1/11th of the nightly goal. Let's see. Avoiding. Yeah, I just want to go down to that other sections down here. I think around 100. I think it starts right here. This rebuttal to report issued by Dr. Brent Turvey. All right, this is all, I think, just really interesting stuff. And it also shows you the mindset of the Kohberger people, with just crazy deduction in reason and logic. What am I looking at, Alley Cake? Did somebody do a challenge? Oh, Jim Lawn said he'll match a... I don't know what that means. You'll match 5 gifted memberships, Jim? Or well, I'm not sure what your challenge is. It's like if we get 5 gifted memberships, you'll donate 5 yourself? Or lots of blood, it gets everywhere. But yeah, all right, so let's just go here. Turvey comments on lack of blood detected in Kohberger's vehicle. This is one of the things he talked about. Despite an extensive and exhaustive forensic examination of the defendant's vehicle for bloody clothing, blood transfer, and other evidence related to these crimes, down to the metal, none was found. This has essentially excluded the defendant's vehicle as being... see, that's what's so idiotic. That sounds like one of the Kohbergers, you know? It essentially... let's see, what is it? It essentially excludes the defendant's vehicle as being related to the commission of these crimes. No, it doesn't at all, you fool. The failure to be absolutely clear and forthcoming about this evident fact would be evidence of bias. No, what it means is that you've got a doctoral student who... All right, you guys, so if you're out there, if you just gift one channel membership, like Jim Lawn just did up there, 5 of you do that, then Jim Lawn will gift 5 himself, all right? So that would be a great way to help us get going tonight on the show. I would appreciate it. If one of you want to do 5, he'll match that 5. If 5 of you want to do 1, he'll match that 1. But see, this is the kind of logic that the Kohbergers use. The failure to be absolutely clear and forthcoming about this evident fact would be evidence of bias. And then the rebuttal is by the state is the failure to detect blood in the defendant's vehicle does not exclude the vehicle from being related to the commission of these crimes. Obviously. I mean, for reasons previously discussed at nodal rebuttal, there can be a myriad of reasons blood was not transferred to our or detected in the defendant's vehicle. Let me see, is there nodal, like, let's see what page we're on. We're on 103. Just want to look up here. Hey, Chris, thanks a lot. There we go. There's 1. We need 4 more of those. This channel gifts a lot of memberships out. I guess it's page 90, so maybe it's right in here. Okay, so this says, it should be noted that there were no drip trails of blood noted on the bedroom floor. Drip trails are indicative of movement by a bleeding individual. Drip trails then present can represent movement of a bleeding person or movement of an object with wet blood of sufficient volume to continue to drip after blood acquisition. Right. And then Sutton responds, drip trails can certainly indicate movement of an object with enough wet blood to create drips, but this type of drip trail is typically characterized by a small number of drips due to the lack of replenishing blood supply on the item that's dripping. In comparison, a bleeding individual can create a longer, more continuous drip trail. Let's see. I'm going to see where it's, maybe down here where it says vehicle. Hey, thanks up there to D Victor 11 and Chris again. Okay, look at that. There's 3 of them. We need 2 more. I just want to see if the vehicle pops up in here. I might have to do something on this portion as well. The appearance of stains indicated by the yellow oval DSC 4562, the mouth and nose injuries of Xana Kernodle, as noted in the autopsy report, are potential sources of diluted blood. As occurred with the stain on the 3rd floor door, this stain was also diluted through the collection process after it had been documented by Detective Talbot. The original deposit was not diluted and therefore not fit with a source from any mouth or nose injury to Kernodle. Let's see. This stain was also diluted through the collection process. Okay. The dilution of this stain is an artificial remnant of sampling. Okay. I mean, I think that portion might be pretty interesting. I'm just going to, I don't know where that part is that he mentioned in the car. 94. Okay, let's see if this is. On December 30th, 2022, representatives from the Idaho State Police Forensic Service Laboratory examined Bryan Kohberger's apartment. In total, the search resulted in testing 51 positions in the apartment for indications of blood, with only 4 of these indicating presumptive positive for the presence of blood. Come on, you guys. Some of your longtime freaks. Can we just get to these 5 gifted challenge right here? You see it there, right? So if you guys can do that, that would be fantastic. Thank you. We just need 2 more gifted memberships for 5 more to be gifted. And then we'll be on our way to being about a third of a nightly goal, right? It shouldn't be too difficult. In total, the search resulted in testing 51 positions in the apartment for indications of blood, with only 4 of these indicating presumptive positive for presence of blood, none of which connected to the victims. Okay. So nothing in the there was 4 samples that were blood in the apartment, but none of them were from the victims. They should have done FGG on those 4 samples to see where they did come from, you know? An absence of blood in an otherwise continuous blood stain or pattern. That's a void. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, if Ethan Chapin was on his side and then blood was all over the place, his armpit would block it. Let's see. Yeah, it's February 1st. We need to have 2 more gifted memberships to match Jim Lawn's challenge, and we're just sitting here, you know, it's just languishing, sitting there. This is how we get it done in here. So, just trying to make it happen. Okay, refer to the story, certainly. I think I'm going to have to go through that section. I think that might be pretty interesting. Sample. Yeah, that's not a gifted membership. So we've only got 3 still. Thank you. 72 Months Megazoid by Lanky Tor. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I thought it was a gifted. Okay, that's not it either. So I guess it's somewhere, you know, I don't know if it was right there or where it was, but now we're back down to where we were just talking about. So their argument is that yeah, let's see. It said, despite an extensive and exhaustive forensic examination of the defendants, oh, here it is, the vehicle for bloody clothing, bloody transfer, and other evidence related to these crimes down to the metal. Well, I guess we were just reading that. None was found. This has essentially excluded the defendant's vehicle, and it doesn't at all. And if there was anybody out there that would probably make it so that you know, there wouldn't be blood, would be him, right? I mean, Kohberger is he wrote a paper on how not to contaminate a crime scene, so he would know exactly how to do that. Ah, man, that's frustrating. Okay, down here it says on the, this is another one. Turvey's comment on lack of blood on the sliding glass door. On the 2nd floor, there's a sliding glass door which was found to be opened by law enforcement. It has been inferred that this is the location where the suspects may have entered or at least exited. There is no physical evidence to support this, as, again, there would need to be the requisite bloody transfer. If an intruder left the house through the door, having left it open upon entry, there would need to be bloody footwear patterns on the floors from the bloody shoes or feet. And see, that's another one of those things. Let me ask you guys something. Put a 1 if you've heard that there wasn't footprints on the ground. There was almost nothing detectable from Kohberger on the ground inside the house of any kind. I mean, whoever killed didn't leave anything. Okay, so if you've heard that, like, oh wow, man, that's crazy. Look how hard it's been. You know, there's nothing. We just couldn't find any footprints. We saw some cast off and so forth, but we just can't really see any bloody footprints. But here's what the Kohberger nutjobs don't ever tell you is that whoever killed them also, let's just pretend it's not Kohberger. That person also didn't leave any footprints, correct? So whoever is the killer didn't leave anything. And so when you know that, you might ask yourself, that's interesting. So the killer must have been somebody that was very careful about not leaving it there. What kind of a person would do that? Oh yeah, a doctoral student in criminal justice who wrote a paper on how not to contaminate a crime scene. Wow, that person right there would be more likely to not leave any evidence like that. You get it? All right, you guys, how do we get these last two? We got Lanky Tor did it. Just snuck one in there without me paying attention. So we got Lanky Tor. So there you go, Jim. Hey, Jim, your what do you call it? Challenge was met. All right, so there you go. Oh, there you go. You called her the Lankster. Yeah, all right. Very cool. Thanks, Lanky Tor. Man, that was just so brutal. Let's see. Does everybody see what I'm saying here, though? When you hear these Kohberger nutjobs talking about, oh my God, he didn't even leave any footprints or anything. But nobody did. Okay? Do you get it? Nobody did. Well, they must have cleaned it up. Well, where's the evidence of that? They put the blue star all over everything, and that's what you use for that, to detect a cleaned up blood area where it looks like you can't see it, but then boom, you put that on there, and there it is. And then they also use Amido Black for detecting, prints. Anyways, I just find that really interesting that they think it's so stunning, and yet a person that wouldn't leave that there is exactly who Kohberger is. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Simple Life Days. Hey, we're waiting for you, Jim. We got to ring the bell here over here. Received a gift membership, and welcome there, Sharon. Welcome to all the new members there. You got the gifted memberships there. If the sliding glass door was in an open position when the intruder entered, or if it was left in an open position after the intruder entered the residence, there would be no need for the intruder to touch the door when exiting. Therefore, there would be no need for the intruder or any bloodstains on the intruder's person or in their possession to make contact with the sliding glass door. Hey, thank you, Jim Lawn and Simple Life Days. The assailant could have removed bloody gloves or removed bloodstains before leaving. See, I love this part here because this is exactly the kind of stuff that we talked about. Now, we've mentioned before on the show that maybe he removed some footwear just before he was leaving. That's why you kind of see the footprints as he's in the snow there. But I think he put together a blood mitigation area next to his car where when he went back to the car, he took off the dicky suit and, likely, I don't know, if you can slide those over your shoes or however that would work. But then he took his balaclava off, and then the last things he took off were probably the gloves. And then he put all that into a plastic bag and then put that into another plastic bag and then just sort of put it in the trunk. And therefore, the exposure of blood inside the driving area is absolutely minimized. Really little amount, and that's why he also spent a ton of time just cleaning his car to make sure that microscopic amount never made it in there as well. Yeah, I guess we'll never know what that stuff is. The assailant could have removed bloody gloves or removed bloodstains before leaving. The extent of the secondary transfer inside the crime scene by someone other than the decedents is minimal. Right. There are 3 possible exits from the crime scene, and there are no visible footwear transfer stains or secondary transfer stains at any of the exits. It can be established. So this is where the Kohbergers will then claim one of the roommates did it, right? Because they didn't exit the house. They stayed in there. It can be established that the perpetrator, and even though Kohberger has already admitted doing this, it can be established that the perpetrator had to have used one of the available exits to leave the crime scene, but no secondary footwear transfer stains or secondary transfer stains were created. This seems to negate Dr. Turvey's conclusion that lack of secondary transfer stains would preclude the sliding glass door being the avenue of exit. See what poor logic that is just in general? Can anybody think of a reason? Because there's no secondary transfer stains, he couldn't have gone out the sliding glass door. Huh? I mean, how come? There was no footprints anywhere in the house. Okay. There's one in front of Dylan's door, but I don't even know if that's his, because it's right in her doorway. It doesn't even make sense. Wonder where the discarded coveralls, etc. ended up. Yeah, maybe on one of those, he drove later that day. We've gone over that kind of stuff a million times. There's so many different places. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but here, I'll open this up. Because some of you only watch the conspiracy nutter channel, so you're never here on a channel that uses common sense, logic, reason. And, so it's, when you hear something, it's like, what? Wow. That's weird because you hadn't been here. Yeah, so if we go down to, I think it's up here. Yeah, there it is right there. All right, so then there's this other area. I think it's right here, isn't it? I know, I'd have to turn them all on. Let's see. Let me scroll up and turn on every one of these. All right. Man, that's a lot of stuff going on there. I'm just going to turn that off again. I'm not sure I have that on. Yeah, so there's, let's see, if you drove up from highway, I gotta turn roads on. I have that turned off. That's probably what the problem is. 95, and then I think it's 195 over here. And then you come up here, and is this, yeah, there's Kirkendall. Then you drive up, and then if you turned right and went down here, yeah, see this tree right there? See, this tree was mentioned in the documents. And an individual in the document said that a vehicle was parked there, a white vehicle, foreign vehicle, was parked right there on the evening, and it seemed to match perfectly with the 5:42 to 5:46 time frame when the vehicle, where the his phone turned on again. And then what's interesting about it is if you go back on Google Earth here and you go back to July of 2022, believe it or not, when Kohberger is in town, there's this white vehicle parked right underneath that tree. Now, whether that's him or not, I don't know. But, man, what if he was scouting out and he hung out there? Because this is exactly the tree that Kohberger was under. And they actually found an area where somebody had dug in there. And, man, what if Kohberger hid the items here? So you might think that when he came back in the morning, let's say in the morning time, instead of he turned on Kirkendall, and then maybe he just made a quick trip down there, and he had let's say he had a pre-dug hole there underneath that tree. Then he places the items he was wearing there, and this would be at like 5 something in the morning. So he gets rid of it before driving into Pullman, Washington. I think that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Is this Kirkendall again? Yeah, so here's Kirkendall. So what if he had taken this right here? So whatever this road is here, he could have turned on this one, drove right down here, and when he got to this intersection, I think I drove too far. Yeah, it's right when he got to right here, he would just turn right, bury it, and then drive this way again, and then eventually goes right by Kirkendall, and then goes up by these other cameras here as he's heading back into Pullman, Washington. See, I think that'd be pretty interesting. And then maybe later in the evening, so he drops it off there in the morning time, and there's no, like his phone might not be on right at that time, or it could be on, because they actually, when they track his phone back, that's the route they think he took, is turning on Kirkendall. But I think it just as easily could have been this street, or it could have even been Kirkendall, and he went down here first, then went back up, and then he drove into here. That could have been at 5:15 in the morning, something like that. Then in the evening, he goes back and removes the items at 5:40 to 5. I think it was 5:42 to 5:46. He removes the items, and then he goes and takes them somewhere else for their final resting place. And maybe that's why he was spotted over in down south. But I mean, I think he probably did something in the dark, actually. So anyways, you got that. But hey guys, we're still struggling here tonight. We're at 40% of just a regular basic goal tonight. So if we could try to get the month started off well, that would be great. So if you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. Unfortunately, we are sort of relegated to asking over and over and over again. People think that somehow there's ad revenue. This show tonight might make $8 in ad revenue. The video that I put out today, it might make 10 because nobody watched it. And so everything, it just kind of relies on the people watching the show to help reach our goals. All right, so if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. We need some more channel memberships, etc. Does anybody give a damn what I just said? I mean, it's just, seems like I'm talking to like a dead zone or something. It's wild. That's how it's felt for a week or two now. All right. Posing is a possibility. So right up here to this other one. The evidence suggests that after both victims were killed or unresponsive, they were posed in their shared bed. Kaylee was moved from a position with her head on her pillow to partially atop of Madison. Then the comforter was placed over them. Okay, but what are you trying to infer with that information? Hey, thanks, Diane. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. As Dr. Turvey states, quoted below, posing requires an intentional act. This refers to intentionally arranging the scene for effect. I mean, but what is it? I mean, what argument do you have by saying that they were posed? It's just Kohberger's a nut job if they were posed. I mean, he's crazy. I don't really understand the like, what's the point you're making? Sure, it's possible. Doesn't mean that they were, just because Kaylee Goncalves, there's a blood pattern on a pillow, and then her head isn't there when she's found, so he thinks that she must have been posed, where in reality it could have just been that she was still alive and moved, you know? And we don't know when the initial blood pattern was put there. Yeah, I'm not asking people to explain why you can't help support the channel. What I'm saying is we need the support for the channel here to keep on moving. And I know that, you know, other channels don't do that, but they also don't donate $46,000 a year, okay? And we do that here, and we try to make a big difference outside. And it also helps support the channel and allows me to buy, like, for example, this software right here is $1,900 a year, 3D Studio Max that I use. I have all these different things that I pay for, and I just need the support. And I hate having to explain it over and over again. It's just so demeaning, you know? It's like, just... I've explained it on every show, and it just seems very frustrating for me. Kaylee was moved from position with her head on her pillow. Yeah, we just said that. There are discrete transfers on the pillow consistent with contact being made by Goncalves' body's head, but these discrete transfers could be the result of several mechanisms. Let's see. Purposeful movement before she was rendered unresponsive. Movement of her head caused by blows or in response to blows by the assailant. Right. And movement during the struggle, intentionally or inadvertently moved by the assailant. Right. I don't even know why why not just say, sure, it's possible he did that, but it's also not possible. So it is possible he posed them. You know, I just don't even understand why they even have a back and forth on that. As for the comforter being placed over them, the spatter on the bottom sheet was limited to approximately chest level. With a limited distribution of spatter on the bottom sheet, it is difficult to determine with certainty that the comforter had been moved. Right. It feels like to me that they're just sort of, their bodies were extended out of the sheets, and then Kohberger attacked them, and they're kind of where they were, you know? Now, I don't know if he put the blanket on them a little bit at the end. I don't really know what that matters, you know? Yeah. Turvey makes several statements regarding the extent of blood that would be on the perpetrator. The extensive and close-up nature of the attacks on Kaylee and Madison, along with the blood spatter evident in the room and the moving of Kaylee's body, are evidence that the suspect's upper body's face, hair, hands, arms, and chest area would have been covered in blood. Underling added. All available physical and blood evidence suggests that these were the first victims, that they were specifically sought out on the 3rd floor, and that the suspects then moved... Suspects. Yeah, look at these idiots, you know. Then moved downstairs to the 2nd floor, where at least one of the suspects was observed by Xana Kernodle. Well, no, not at least one. The one. There was just one. This would have been covered in blood. This would... What do you mean this would have been? And that suspect then moved downstairs to the 2nd floor, where at least one of the suspects was observed by Xana Kernodle. This would have been covered in blood. What would have been? What are you talking about? The 2nd floor? Or? The extensive and close-up nature of attacks on Xana and Ethan, along with the blood spatter and blood smears evident in the room, are evidence that the suspect's entire bodies, face, hair, hands, arms, chest area, legs, and feet would have been covered in blood. No, because they... well, Ethan was slightly under cover, and the blood actually shot out. I don't know. These people get these ideas that it's, again, like Sissy Spacek in Carrie. You know, like you're just like a bucket of blood dumped on you. And it's just not the way it is. And see, here it is. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Covered in blood. See, that's the thing that's what the pro-burgers try to use terms like that. You know, wow, they would have been covered in blood. And then the first thing that the rebuttal says is, the term covered in blood is not scientifically quantifiable. There is certainly evidence that the assailant in this case had some degree of blood stains on the person or an object in their possession, and that secondary blood transfer resulted by subsequent movement through the scene. The number and quantity of blood stains that were secondarily transferred in the scene was relatively small. Even during the violent activity associated with an assault, only a small number and quantity of blood was transferred outside the bedrooms. Right. So we just have those little transfer droplets, or, you know, like cast off, transfer, just a little bit. There's very little blood outside of the bedrooms in general. There is some cast off in different places, but the bedrooms are where all the blood is, and most of the blood is around the beds and in the bed. You know, for example, in Madison's room, most of the blood is on the bed and on the walls, just above the, you know, the heads there, and then the wall to their right. Okay, the blood, there's cast off in different locations to the right in the room. Okay. Am I going to be relegated to having to make another pitch? Yeah. While spatter was widely distributed in both bedrooms, involved the amount of spatter in the surrounding areas where the perpetrator would be located as to create a void. If a perpetrator had been covered in blood, it seems like a void would be identifiable, but there wasn't. See, and you can even see it. Look at how it worked. In Madison's room, there was arterial, there was some kind of blood pattern on the wall to the right. It looked somewhat arterial. And then the one in Ethan's room was arterial, but that's not where Kohberger would be standing. So it wouldn't have hit him. You know, it hit the wall over there. So he may have even planned on how he's going to attack people, making sure that there isn't a huge amount of blood that actually hits him, other than, you know, some of the cast off that's going to happen. Hey, thank you, Ilian. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time to know these cases and work on them and put everything together. It's just people just expect it, you know, instead of, you know, I mean, it's frustrating. If you've done CPR training, you know someone might not be breathing but have a pulse. Okay, what about it? What's that got to do with anything that we're talking about? The precautionary acts in this case include the execution of living witnesses, the cleanup of bloody hands, feet, footwear, and clothing before leaving, and the disposal of said clothing along with the weapon used. Direct evidence of this cleanup can be found in at least some of the dilute blood transfer which was located in different areas of the home. Indirect evidence includes the absence of bloody transfer from feet and hands despite the movement of suspects within the homes, or this movement of suspects within the homes. What do you mean the homes? The necessary opening of the doors and the absence of bloody footwear patterns at the scene in general. All of this would have required an extensive amount of time at the scene to clean, perhaps hours. Well, but there wasn't hours. See, the car got there at 4:08 and left at 4:20 in 47 seconds. It literally drove by, turning at 4:07 and 47 seconds, and drove away at 4:20 and 47 seconds, which is exactly, what is that, 13 minutes? There you go. But hey guys, if you guys could please help support the channel tonight, I'd appreciate it. We got to get the month started off on the right foot. There's zero anything else other than what we see coming in here. There's nothing, there's no coffees, there's no, so this is it. All of this would have required an extensive amount of time at the scene to clean, perhaps hours. No, it wouldn't. And he didn't clean anything. The defense is the only people that have ever said it appears that he cleaned some things. Remember how we were saying that? I go, well, they're the only ones saying that. And now it just turns out that they're probably talking about diluted blood here and there. So they're going, ooh, it's been cleaned. There was no evidence of stuff being cleaned that I saw in those photographs with the blue star. I mean, what do you guys think? Well, as a matter of fact, I don't think that was blue star. It's a Mito black, is that stuff that you see all over the place on the ground, the big blue puddles. Yeah. Turvey refers to indicators of more than one assailant. It is not reasonable to think that Ethan would have remained in his bed after waking up or being awake while Xana was being attacked in front of him. Yeah, but you don't know that if he woke up. You know what I mean? This evidence and context begin to suggest the existence of a second attacker. Begin to suggest. This issue will be addressed in a later section. And then they said at least 2 suspects were involved in this attack. This is indicated by the fact that multiple weapons were used against Kaylee. That multiple types of lethal force were used against Kaylee, and that Ethan and Xana appear to have been attacked at the same time. This is inconsistent with the state's theory that these crimes are committed solely by one individual. Why? See, that is, think about the logic that's being used here. It's idiotic, but you see the same logic used on the Kohberger channels. They say the same kinds of things. Look, just reading this right here. Multiple types of lethal force were used against Kaylee, and that Ethan and Xana appear to have been attacked at the same time. This is inconsistent with the state's theory that the crimes were committed solely by one individual. That's complete garbage, right? Kohberger likely used the butt end of the knife to pound Kaylee's face Or maybe he had another item there. It doesn't have any indication at all that there was a second person. And then we also have the, that Kaylee and Ethan appear to be attacked around the same period of time. I think it's more likely that Ethan was, pretty much put out a commission right away. And then Xana runs over, Ethan, because they just absolutely loved each other. And that's why it's on both of her hands, because she was kind of grabbing him. And then Kohberger, and she'd already been attacked, I would think. So let's say when he was running after her, like right when he gets to the room, he's already kind of stabbed her, but she really being really highly intoxicated is sort of like not really knows what's going on, but sees Ethan there and then tries to grab him. And then Ethan's already been stabbed, so he reaches over and touches Xana, and she already had blood on her. And then he went and started attacking both of them over and over again. She got shoved into the end table. That's how I look at it. Hey, thanks, Jace. Just a little. Just a little. Just a little bit. Yeah. That would explain that, right? Like she's running over. He's chasing after her. She's stabbed in the back. Then she goes over. It's weird, too, because I think the very first thing he did was attack Ethan in the bed. He's not going to want to allow him to get up. So he goes into that room and he runs right over there, and Ethan's like, what's going on? He was totally out, asleep. And then he gets stabbed in the neck, and while the blood is coming out, he's kind of touching it, and then Xana comes over and tries to be like, hey, what's going on? Trying to help him, even though she's maybe, injured as well, too, because she's really drunk. And she's just, when you're drunk, remember how they used to give people alcohol before amputating an arm or before pulling teeth? They just get you really drunk. I think that's basically what the deal is. Like, you probably don't feel things quite as much. And so she's not really in protect myself mode, other than the defensive wounds during part of it, but she literally goes over to Ethan. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Violet. Nobody does. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go with the soundboard again. You're probably going to be timed out in about 5 seconds. I don't know what you're talking about, Violet. Nobody knows what you're saying, Violet. When you told me you. What? Jesus. Plus with the adrenaline. Connection. BK had to... Yeah, there's no... They never found a connection. Did they say how they knew that? So, just a little said... Here, I'll put it on the screen. Said, did they say how he knew them at all before the murder? Like, did he meet them at the Mad Greek or the pool parties? No. No, they found no indication of him knowing them. And none of the stuff that, like, Steve Goncalves was saying was ever put out there by law enforcement. They said that there was... I mean, there'd be no reason for them not to mention it. You know what I mean? I don't know what Zelle is. I mean, we have PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee. I got all kinds of stuff. Hey, we got Kimberly. Kimberly supported me on Buy Me a Coffee, and so did Lisa Valenzuela. Thank you, guys. I don't know what Zelle is. Yeah, we already did talk about it 1,000 times, Violet. Yeah, I'm just repeating it again. God, man, people like you just drive me nuts. My God. Get out. Man, the show isn't about you, Violet. We're just trying to work through this stuff. All right, let's see. We got Turvey refers to indicators of more than one assailant. Yeah, so we just talked about that. There's nothing in either of these two that indicate there's two, nor is it even remotely evidence that there's two killers. Like, if somebody said, oh, wow. I mean, what is your first thought when you hear that Kaylee has a indentation of some sort on her face, that there must have been another killer? Did anybody think that originally when they heard that? How does that even pop into somebody's mind at that point? What proof do you have that there was another killer because she had a mark on her face? I mean, it's ridiculous, you know? Hey, by the way, I don't know what was Steve Goncalves talking about the other day. I don't know where that link is, Lisa, but he seemed to kind of, I don't know, man. He was all over the place in one of these interviews. I don't know what he was talking about. There's evidence that Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were in close proximity to each other at some point after the assault began, as evidenced by the finding of Kernodle's blood and DNA under the fingernails of Ethan Chapin, Ethan Chapin's right hand, and the finding of Chapin's blood and DNA under the fingernails of both Xana Kernodle's hands. So both of her hands. So isn't that just crazy? That was something I had no idea about until yesterday. So you just got a picture, like here you are in this room, and Ethan's over here. He ends up just like how I have it there. And there was like a little table, an end table here that I think Xana was shoved into after she was already bleeding. And she kind of collapsed into it and then tried to get up, and then she got attacked again and was kind of, she's a little bit, you know, it's not quite the way I have it here, by the way. It's more like, I think if we, let's take this roof off, like right there, and then came down. I think that's her dummy, they call it. Yeah, I think she was more over further out like this, and I'm not even sure how much she was even on this thing, but I think it's more like that. And then so you just kind of look at it. So if his right hand somehow got her blood on it, I mean, it could have came also, by the way, the blood that's on his hand could have actually came from a the knife itself. You know, maybe he might have tried to defend himself for a second, and maybe some of the blood got off the knife, transferred onto his hand. Her blood on her hand, I think, has no chance of being that. I think it's that she literally was touching Ethan at some point. Now, why, you know, what he, how he got it on his fingernail, I don't know. Do we know if he took a trophy? No, we don't know if he took one. But, you know, if you guys want to get your comments on the screen, the way you do it on these shows is you send a super chat in, and then we talk about what you want to talk about. All right, there you go. That's how it works. That's what they're actually for. And we're trying to get the month started off well here. Got a slow, we're only at 60% still of a nightly goal, so if we could. I'm not sure why my phone's buzzing. What is that? I'm going to turn it off. Notifications. Yeah. Do not disturb. There we go. I like that one. I think when there's that much blood, I don't know what the rest of your sentence is. I don't think she was closer to the bed. I've shown you the pictures. Yeah. Remember the one with the hair? It's kind of over here. Boo, I'm never watching or something. I did not write that. I'm not sure what that means. When I popped up on the screen, it said, boo, I'm never watching. You know, it's boo hoo hoo, I'm never watching again. Yeah. Right. That's that comment. Oh, God. Violet's in here whining again. God, what an idiot. Jesus. Woo. My God. You come back in again? I just said it was brought up again. And so we talked about it. You know? God, what a baby. Jesus. This is unbelievable. It's so childish. Never even heard of these people. So anyways, the evidence by the finding of Kernodle's blood and DNA under the fingernails of Ethan Chapin's right hand and the finding of Chapin's blood and DNA under the fingernails under the fingernails, you know? Not on her hands, but under the fingernails of both Xana Kernodle's hands. One assailant could contain two people in close proximity to each other. I just think it was just quick, you know. It's I don't even know if he's really containing anybody. He just quickly goes in, stabs Ethan in the neck, and probably a couple times really quick, different things, and then moves on to Xana, but Xana had already been maybe wounded. A single perpetrator can certainly use more than one weapon and can use multiple types of lethal force. Right. It's just such a childish statement to make. And what's even more childish is how the media out there pretends it's really meaningful, you know. I'm not. Who are you talking to, Lilo? I haven't said a word to you tonight. What are you talking about? See, what's wrong with these people in here? I don't even know who you are, Lilo. I've never even commented to anything that you said. What's going on, man? I don't even know who you are. I watch your channel often and was agreeing with you, so not sure what I've done. What are you talking about? I've never even responded to a word you've said. I think you're a troll. You're coming in here to get a reaction, and I always cave in and do it. You know, it's just stupid on my part. Wow. Crazy. Never heard of you. But hey, it'd be great if you came around more. Maybe I'd know who you were. I don't know what you're talking about, though. I've never commented towards anything that you said. Hey, look I got a butt gray up there. Oh, yeah, I see. I think that was from earlier. No? I don't know what that one came in from. Was that old? That one that just came in? I don't know. I don't see another one. Maybe it hasn't popped in yet. Okay, well, Lilo, what are you referring to then? Yeah, I have no idea what you're referring to. Anyways, yeah, just, you know, it's okay. We'll move on. I just don't see the coffee that was mentioned there. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Let's see. So there was Kimberly. I don't see that message though. Oh no, that's what I think that's what I changed it to. The message on the coffees is boo hoo hoo, I'm never watching again, I think. I don't know if that's what I put on there or not. You don't think what who was doing, Mark? I have no idea what you're talking about, man. My God, are these people doing this on purpose? I don't think that's what he was doing, Gray. What? I see 3 coffees. How do you see 4? That doesn't show up anywhere. How would you be able to see if there was any? I see one from Kimberly. I see one from Hillary. And thank you very much for that. And also Kimberly and Lisa. So it's just 3. I don't know what Mark's talking about. Do you guys? Man, that's just like, it's, I don't know. It's strange in here tonight. I gotta be honest. Oh yeah? Oh, you guys want to hear what I did today? Hey, just a little. You want to hear what I did? This is crazy right here. Oh, let's see. I don't know if I got one. Let's see. Let me go look. I'll go check here in a second. But here's what I did, you guys, this morning. I go, you know what? I'm just going to make myself a small pancake. This is just, God, it sucked. I'm going to make myself a pancake, and I'm going to go ahead and, oh yeah, that is, looks like Marty on there, so I had to go online. I'm going to make a pancake, and I put some blueberries in it, right? I put some blueberries in it. I put them all around so it was nice and covered, and I was just using the Krusteaz mix. And I put some olive oil in the pan, and I cooked it up absolutely perfectly on both sides. Put it on the plate, put a lot of this butter on the top of it. Reached up and grabbed the syrup, poured it on there. Turns out it was soy sauce. Okay. It was freaking... Who the hell wants a pancake? I just threw it right... immediately as I was pouring it, I could see it was so dark. And then I realized, this sucks. So then I just threw it away. Okay? And then, man, that was bad. And then I had to start all over again. Of course, the second time around, it didn't seem like it was as good as the first time. I mean, just freaking soy sauce. I didn't even try a bite to see, wow, maybe it's good. I think it would have ruined it forever. Yeah, but I still don't know what Mark's talking about. Is anybody up there? Hey, Mark, are you up there? Can you explain what you mean by, I don't think that's what he was doing, Gray? Who? Kohberger? Oh, you must be on rewind, I think. Yeah, it's probably not going to be too good, Lilo, I can tell you. As soon as I saw it running around, for a moment, I was good, but then I realized, I even smelled it beforehand for some reason. I'm not sure why I did that. It still smelled a little syrupy, so it didn't bother me. Yeah. Blueberry soy sauce pancake. I really recommend those. Those are absolutely fantastic. Let's see. All right, see, Turvey indicate this is another Kohberger. You ever notice that the Kohberger nut jobs have the same arguments as this guy? It's crazy. It's whatever planning may have taken place with. I wonder if this guy got some of these idiotic ideas from those people that are continuing to make videos today. What I just find interesting is trying to go over the crime scene and put all the pieces of the puzzle together. These people pretend that every single word in these documents is some other proof that Kohberger didn't do it. And that's just complete garbage, right? Turvey indicated that an excessive amount of time would be required for a perpetrator to clean up after the assault. Whatever planning may have taken place with respect to the crime, it resulted in an excessive number of victims with an excess of bloody transfer and bloody clothing on the part of the suspects. This took additional time to both effect and clean up before they could leave. You know, we need somebody to do another challenge inside the chat, you guys. Somebody out there. The precautionary acts in this case include the execution of living witnesses, the cleanup of bloody hands, feet, footwear, and clothing before leaving, and the disposal of said clothing, along with weapons used. Direct evidence of this cleanup can be found in at least some of the dilute blood transfer, which was located in different areas of the home. Indirect evidence includes the absence of bloody transfer from feet and hands. So what you're saying is somebody got in there and cleaned it up so well that even Blue Star couldn't detect it. Give me a break, all right? This is ridiculous. And then if that is true, though, can anybody name a type of person that might know how to do that? Can anybody name a type of person that might know how to clean blood off of a surface without leaving a trace? Who might a person, you know, what kind of education or knowledge might somebody like that have? Anybody at all? Oh, Bryan Kohberger. Exactly. As Brody said. No, not Hollywood. Jeez, what the hell, man? My God. Hollywood doesn't know how to do that. It's somebody like Bryan Kohberger, who has is going for a doctoral degree in criminal justice and wrote a paper again on how not to contaminate a crime scene. Doesn't that alone, just that little bit of information, explain a lot? Okay, we only got 15 new channel memberships tonight, you guys. We need to get another challenge going in here. Yeah, we still need another, like, yeah, we're just so far behind. I'd say 15 or 20 channel memberships just to try to get to the minimum, or that wouldn't even get us to the minimum goal, to be honest with you. So if you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. This channel relies on the people watching to support it on a nightly basis. I try my best to get ad revenue too from videos, etc. But when those fail, we're just kind of in here relying on people watching. So if you have the ability, that would be fantastic. Gifting channel memberships is really cool because it allows the possibility that somebody might stick around the next month. All right, so let's see if we can do that. The bastard, yeah. The precautionary acts in this case include the execution of living witnesses. Yeah, I think we went over that. Direct evidence of the cleanup can be found in at least some of the diluted blood. This is the defense again. All of this would have required an extensive amount of time at the scene to clean, perhaps hours, which is inconsistent with the state's theory. See, what they're trying to do in this is imply that it's got to be somebody inside the house, one of the roommates, because they were there that whole time. They would have needed hours. That car that was driving around was irrelevant. You know, the white Elantra that drove lap after lap after lap, would stop behind the house on every single lap for between 45 seconds to a minute and a half, parked out there behind Madison's room, because you can actually see the headlights hit the top of one of the homes there, and then the vehicle stops, and then you see it driving away on King Road or Queen Road, and then turning north onto King, and then most of the time heading out on Willanta Drive. Yeah. Okay, who's going to do the next challenge, you guys? We need another challenge. Yeah. So what they want you to think is that wasn't his vehicle that was driving, and when it left at a high rate, so it was driving around and did all the three different passes. Then on the fourth pass, it does like pass A and B, goes back, turns around, goes to King and Queen, does a 3-point turn, then comes back around. And then on that one, that's his final pass behind 1330 Linda Lane. Then it parks. You see the headlights again turning at 4:07 and 47 seconds. And then at 4:08, it parks, probably, something around that time. And then he gets out, does whatever he's doing, and then 13 minutes later, it drives away at a high rate of speed. A white Elantra, missing a front plate, with no fog lights. We know that because when it drove by the Ridge Road camera, you plainly see the black inserts. Yeah, he's definitely implicating Dylan and Bethany in this sentence here. All of this would have required an extensive amount of time at the scene to clean, and they're also indicating that you can see what they're trying to get at here, because they're also saying, hey, you know, there's no footprints or anything. They would have needed a lot of time to clean up, and you know, it's just really obvious what they're trying to imply here. They seem like they're right out of the Kohberger handbook. All of this would have required an extensive amount of time at the scene to clean, perhaps hours, which is inconsistent with the state's theory that these crimes were committed within a time interval less than 15 or 20 minutes. No, what it is your theory is inconsistent with the facts of the case. That's your theory, that it would have taken hours and hours. They must have cleaned something, is inconsistent with the case. What are you talking about, Julian? What are you talking about? Are you going to go over the doc or just repeat questionable video evidence? What questionable video? What the hell are you talking about? It's not questionable. The Elantra, I've made video after video. The white Elantra is not questionable at all. The only video that showed it had fog lights on it was the one at 2:42 in the morning in Pullman, and they weren't going to even use that at trial because they saw that it had the fog lights. They thought maybe that was it, but it's not. You guys are freaking nuts, man. But hey, guys, we're on one of these massive lulls. Can you guys see it when you're looking at the chat? So if you guys could please help support the channel tonight. We're just trying to get the month started off well. We're really only on the YouTube side at 40% of a nightly goal, and it just seems like we should be able to be doing a little bit better. Yeah, Julianne's just just one of the people with the IQ of a squirrel. You know, just, you know, they go with whatever, hey, let everybody be saying, and they just run around. The Elantra video is not questionable whatsoever. Okay, I mean, I've done it so many times. It's incredible. I actually can track the Elantra through the reflection of a window all the way up the slope where it goes back behind 500 Queen Road. But man, you guys, what's going on? Mm-hmm. All right, Turvey reports that the knife sheath was staged for the following reasons. And by the way, the knife sheath being staged, what relevance does that have? I think it might be left there intentionally, but what relevance does it really have? So, like, this whole thing is the crime scene staging refers to an attempt to confuse or misdirect a law enforcement investigation. So maybe what they're trying to do is make it seem like the whole thing is kind of shady because the knife sheath was used to misdirect, so we don't even know what happened here. By altering, fabricating, or planning evidence in relation to a crime scene. In the present case, a K-bar knife sheath was discovered in the crime scene by law enforcement. Evidence of staging with respect to this item of evidence is as follows. The sheath was found precariously placed just slightly under the body of Madison Mogen and partially covered by the comforter that was placed atop the midsection of her body by the suspect. It could not have fallen accidentally into this location. I mean, I've always thought that there's a good chance that it was left intentionally, but it wouldn't shock me at all if he did just get it knocked off. But I think he wanted to leave it there. My theory has always been that Kohberger is he studied serial killing, and he wanted to do all the cool things that serial killers do, So I think he was going to leave the knife sheath as a calling card. He wanted to get that in there. Eventually, if they ever caught him, he'd be called the Kohberger, the K-bar killer, And he was going to probably leave something at various scenes. That's kind of my theory on that. The knife sheath was so clean of his DNA, had none of his DNA was anywhere on that knife sheath at all, except on the underside of the button snap, where he missed. He didn't clean that one spot. He missed it. And so, that's where I think it was left there intentionally, but I'm like I said before, like 60-40. I don't really know. So you guys, how do we get the chat to help support the channel tonight? We're just absolutely frozen here. How do we do it? I just need somebody to do a couple more challenges and we'll be right there. I don't think he left. I don't think what? Yeah, well, you can think whatever you want, Christy. I don't agree with you, okay? Yeah, we've heard this 1,000 times. Even your thing that you're saying there. Yeah, he was on the bed. It fell off. He went attacking Kaylee, and it came off, and he just forgot about it. Yeah, we've heard that. I think he left it there, and the thing is doesn't everybody want him to have left it there intentionally? Because it just shows you that his ineptness is what led to him being identified. Yeah, no, Lanky Tor. People just think we just do this stuff and shut the hell up. But I'm trying to make a living and also be able to do all the great stuff that we do, and it's hard to do with nights like this. Yeah. A challenge is that somebody says, Christy, that hey, I'll donate 5 channel memberships if 5 other people donate a membership. And that sort of seems to help get us to a goal, but we've been doing the show now. The last 40-something minutes is 0, okay? So I don't know, it's a whole different group of people. They don't really care about what we're doing, the goals and so forth in the future. And so, they don't have the same, I don't know. Even the regulars don't either, though. So it's kind of, I don't know what to say. I don't know, Alley Cake. If you didn't plan on leaving it there, why would it have been cleaned? That's what I always tell people. They don't really ever listen to you when you tell them that. That the knife sheath, one that he purchased, why would he clean a knife sheath that he was going to be taking with him? By the off chance that he might leave it there accidentally? I mean, give me a break. I don't know where he put the K-bar. Yeah, that doesn't exist. It says Maddie Mogen. Okay. Is this the same idiot that sent me the email about the Mogen thing? Yeah, it's Maddie Mogen, and it was folded on the middle of her name. Now, did somebody fold it there intentionally? I don't know. But it said Maddie Mogen, which is spelled M-A-D-D-I-E, Mogen. No, there wasn't Fox 5. I just explained it to you. I've seen it. That's not what that is. Okay. Somebody just swindled you on that one. It was in the front yard. It has nothing to do with Kohberger. I've seen the photos, Fox 5. You're incorrect. I've seen them. It's weird how you explain it to them, and they still tell you to look at the photos. As if I hadn't seen it. You know, it's bizarre. I just explained it to you. Here, I'll find it again. I'll show it in here. I am. I'm putting it up, but I might not put it up now just because of your personality type. Idiot, Jesus. Right here. See this? So this is what this person is basing this on. Watch. So see that right there? That's Maddie Mogen was in there. Do you think a killer is going to put like, oh, die Mogen? You know, so it's probably folded on the other side or something like that, or cut in half. But that's where, and by the way, let me show you guys something. You know how I know that to be true? And you can just debunk this idiot? Right here, you see how there's this loop at the bottom, right there on the D? That's right there too. See, this portion is right there, and that was the other D that was over there. This person, you can see how it was written. You know, it probably started over here. You know, it was another D, so it probably from right there continued on and went up like that. Do you guys see that? I just explained it to you. You can actually see right here, that's this portion of this, the other D that was right there. What do you mean you can see the other D on the other side? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm just saying you can barely see part of it right there. Do you see that part there, Fox? I just explained it to you. Oh boy. Yeah, well, you can't see the whole D on the other side. You just see the portion here. And then maybe, you know, I don't know if that would have continued up like that, and then IE. And they obviously took a photograph of it. And, you know, what I can't tell you is, did somebody cut it that way to make it look like that? I don't know, but Maddie was there prior to that. Is it just folded right there and it looks like that? Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit strange that that's on the ground out there, for sure. But it's in the front yard, too, so it doesn't really make sense. But it's behind Ethan's Jeep and back on the ground out here. Doesn't make any sense. Well, I don't care if you disagree with it. You're just incorrect. Okay? I mean, you can disagree all day long. It doesn't mean anything to me. You want it to be important. You know, like, ooh, Kohberger left it there. Ooh, Kohberger left it there. That's what sensationalism is. Just use common sense, logic, reason, etc. Do you think Bryan Kohberger may have literally put the knife inside their mouths, down there? No. I'm not even sure where the hell you're getting that information from. They didn't say anything like that in the... I mean, I guess he could have plunged it and went into a mouth at one point. Hey, thank you, Jennaru. Gifted a membership. Hey, somebody cares. All right, thank you. The sheath was new and unused, indicated by the absence of damage or wear. So he thought it was staged because it was new. Like somebody couldn't buy a new one to commit the crime. It must be staged because it's new. See how poor that logic is? But Kohbergers, when they hear stuff like that, that's the logic that their brains feed on, like it's real. Oh, wow. That's amazing. It's new. So therefore, it has to be staged. Why? Couldn't he just bought one to use for this murder? What does it even mean? Why does the fact that it's new or not have anything to do with staging anything? Can anybody explain that one? The sheath was face down and had received only a few areas of minute blood spatter, while resting atop a sheet with significant impact spatter all around. The inconsistency of blood spatter, dispersion, and density indicate transfer occurring at different times under different conditions. The difference in the amount of spatter on the sheath versus the amount on the fitted sheet or even the comforter simply proves that the sheath came to rest in the location where it was discovered at a different time during the spatter producing event. Right. And so that sort of helps my theory out, because that means there was stuff going on, and at the very end, that's when the sheath was put there near the end of it, even though there's some spatter on there. You know, that could be aspirated. I mean, we don't really know how that, you know, the little fine misting of blood, it seems like, on that knife sheath. You know, so it could have been that he left it there, put it there after the fact. The sheath could have been at another location when it was spattered. Let's see. The difference in the amount of spatter on the sheath versus the amount on the fitted sheet or even the comforter simply proves that the sheath came to rest in this location where it was discovered at a different time during the spatter producing events. It does not prove that it was staged in this location. Right. The sheath could have been at another location when it was spattered and then moved here at a later time. If the perpetrator moved the comforter, as Dr. Turvey believes, the sheath could have been moved to this location when the comforter was moved. This could account for a different amount of spatter on the exposed surface of the sheath and the exposed surface of the bed sheet. All right, the sheath was placed at the location without receiving bloody transfer from the hands or fingers of the suspect that did it. Yeah, I mean, for me, that is sort of like he put it there, right? This means it was done after the attacks, posing. But I mean, what is this? How does this help in any way? You know, their argument. But also after the suspect had washed their hands. I bet you the prosecution, once they saw that they were talking about this, they might have thought, you know, I think he may have put it there as a calling card. But then because the defense was saying it was staged and put there, they didn't want to give him any out. So all they're doing is coming up with every counter argument that could also explain how it could be where it was. Kind of like in the Jodi Arias case when the prosecution said for months that the gunshot was first. And then when Jodi Arias switched from her ninja story where there was these intruders to self-defense, well, her story was that the gunshot was first. So the defense then shifted to knife first theory, which was totally bogus, by the way. They went to the knife first theory in that case, and they they just wanted to have a completely opposite argument of Jodi Arias. So that's sort of similar. We need somebody to try to do a challenge in here tonight, you guys. Who's going to do it? Let's see. The fourth reason Dr. Turvey feels the sheath was staged. The sheath was placed at the location without receiving bloody transfer from the hands or fingers of the suspect that did it. This means it was done after the attack. Placed on the location without receiving bloody transfer from hands or fingers. Yeah, this means it was done after the attacks, posing, but also after the suspect had washed their hands. That's such bullshit. Subsequent to lean up. Well, no, here's what I think. It's the first. I mean, it is sort of interesting that there's no transfer on it. So it almost does sort of seem like, you know, he could have tucked. I mean, here's a way that could have done. He could have tucked the knife sheath under the, like right when he gets there, he tucks it under the comforter, and then he starts stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, you know, over and over and over again. And then eventually it sort of got exposed a little bit after he'd already killed everybody. And so there wouldn't be any transfer if he originally put it there. What is it? Another 5 challenge, Jim? So if we get 5 gifted memberships, you'll donate 5? That'd be awesome. All right, you guys. That's it. So let's get some of the regulars. See if we can get just the gifted memberships. 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5 of them. That's all we need. And then Jim will donate 5. Is that right, Jim? Thank you. It is true that there are no bloody transfer visible on the knife sheath, but the significance of this finding does not support that the placement of the sheath was staged. It could have gotten in this location without having been touched by a perpetrator, or even after their hands were cleaned or gloves removed. Oh, you mean, what does that mean? Without, I don't know. See, it's kind of an awkward sentence. I remember reading this one. Okay, we need 5 different people to either do $5 or 1 channel membership, and then Jim will donate 5 all by himself. So that really helps out. Thank you. You could have gotten in this location without having been touched by a perpetrator or even after hands were cleaned or gloves removed. So he cleaned his hands. So why are they saying that? Why is the prosecution saying after their hands were cleaned or gloves removed? I mean, why are you saying that? Do you have evidence that they cleaned their hands? Either scenario would explain the lack of contact staining without staging having occurred. Looks like it's going to get ignored there, Jim. Terms and definitions in bloodstain pattern analysis. Yeah, we already know the absence of evidence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. All right, you guys see that up there? We got a challenge by Jim Lawn. If you guys donate 5 memberships, Jim will donate 5 all by himself. So you just donate 1. 5 people do 1. Jim will jump in there. And I'm just trying to get to the first night of the month to something reasonable. We're just getting crushed. So. Hey Jim, how about what if I did it? Would that count? Doesn't look like anybody's interested. Yeah, that's the. You can see the direction of travel is where you got the wide spot and then it goes down to something small. Yeah, cast off. This looks like it's right out of the the Practical Homicide book. You know, these really old photographs that they're using. They're just explaining different things. Yeah, Jodi Arias had a ton of diluted blood at her crime scene. Let's see. All right, I'll try to get you guys help one more time. We got Jim Lawn up there that said he'll gift 5 memberships if 5 different people donate 1. Oh, there's a stain right on the side of that table. I didn't know that. Yeah. This is just so crazy. So different than it used to be. It's unreal. No, we can't, LAK. These people aren't the ones that are, they're not really into, you know, supporting the channel like we do here. That's why, you know, they're not used to being on channels where, you know, our channel's donated 46,000 last year. And they're into the ones that they can just watch and forget it, you know. It's just, I don't know, it's a different mindset. So it's definitely going to be tough. So I had to do it myself just to get the support there. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. Very cool. Thank you. friction, ridge skin is what latent prints are. I don't know. Is there anything else in there that you guys think is interesting? I think we can go over the autopsy things again though up here, just to kind of sort of reset that. But I'll donate another 5 if you guys want to do 5 more. I got some ones that I can just give out at the end of the month. Stab and incise wounds of the scalp, face, and neck. 24. So just on her head, face, and neck. 24 for Kaylee. And then stab and incise wounds of the chest. 11. So, and then that's just like the chest area. And then stab and incise wounds of the upper extremities, 3. So that means like up higher. And then punctures of the outer table of the skull. So again on her head. Injuries to the teeth and tongue. So, you know, there's probably just the force in there. And perforations of the subclavian artery and vein, hemorrhage into the chest cavities. Blunt force injuries include scalp laceration, bleeding around the brain, nasal fracture, scrapes on the nose and cheeks, bruising around the eyes, pattern bruise extending across the lower face. Wish they had described that. And so she had hemorrhaging in the eyes and mouth, and blood alcohol concentration of only 0.107. So she wasn't really, you could see it too when they were over at the grub truck. She wasn't really as intoxicated. And then what's this? Other findings. Patchy hemoaspiration, so blood aspiration pattern with evidence of blood in upper and lower airways. So probably, you know, stabbed in the lung area, and then she was sort of breathing blood, right? And then we have Madison Mogen. Stab and incise wounds to the scalp, face, and neck, 13. Stab wounds to the chest, 5. Incise wounds of the upper extremities, 10. Wounds of the lung and liver. So that must be, that's got to be like lower chest area to do that. Perforations of the subclavian vein and blood. It's interesting how he seems to have hit that same vein on, it seems like 3 or 4 of the victims, you know, like he knew exactly what he was doing. And Madison's blood alcohol level was almost hospital level. I mean, 0.282 is, you know, a lot of people can't even be awake at that. I mean, you're looking at 0.282, legal limits 0.08, 0.16 would be double, 0.24 would be triple. So she's literally 350% more of the, you know, over the legal limit. Or maybe 250. Yeah, but I think she was asleep. I don't know if she was that aware. She was just, I mean, the 2 people that were, Xana, who was awake, and Kaylee, who wasn't as drunk, were the 2 that were probably the most awake of anyone. But I think Kaylee was, I think she probably was killed within, you know, less than 35 seconds or something. I mean, it wasn't a long period of time. And she probably, you know, when you get woken up in the middle of the night, you don't even know what the hell's going on. You're just like, what? Well, I'll donate one more set of 5 memberships if you guys do 5 out there. All right. So we just need 5 people to donate 1 membership, and then I'll donate 5. Yeah, blood alcohol level 0.282, and then incision of the nasal septum. So that's like right, right between your lip and your nose, right? Perforation of the tongue and oral mucosa. So he probably just would, was just stabbing at their head, and their mouth and face, And then serosanguinous fluid in upper and lower airways. So maybe that's the liquid that would help diffuse the yeah, that's okay, Jim. Hey, thanks for helping tonight. I don't know why it's like this these days. It's really quite startling and strange, And then ChatGPT says the order of severity is Xana, Madison, Kaylee, and then Ethan. So it determined that in here, with Madison was worse than Kaylee. But I don't know, man. This part right up here, the scalp, face, and neck, 24. And, so that means there's 35 plus just right there. And then 35, 36, 37. But I guess Madison has 18, 28. I mean, that's even less. I don't know, why it wouldn't determine that. Anyway, Xana, date and time of autopsy, November 16th, 2022. So 3 days after. Almost 3 days from the time frame that they were found. No, wait, yeah, right. That's a little less than 3 days, probably 3 days, 2 days, 23 hours, and 45 minutes. Date and then the cause of death, multiple sharp force injuries, abrasion and contusions of the head, torso, and extremities. Stab and incised wounds of the scalp, face, and neck, 23. Stab wounds of the chest, 7. So that's 30. And then stab wounds to the abdomen, 4. Incised and puncture wounds of the back, 3. So puncture wounds are likely, let's see, so incisor cuts, and puncture is kind of like straight in. So, her back was to him, and I think that's right around the time she went flying into the end table there. Incised wounds of the upper extremities, 25. So those are cuts. Chest, so those are, well, I mean, it's hard to, they might be breaking down part of this, When it says 25 incised wounds to the upper extremities, is that, because they're stab and incised wounds, 23, and then stab wounds to the chest, 7, are part of those the 25 that they're talking about? Now, they didn't mention any experimental wounds in here, does it? Have you seen the word experimental wounds on any of these documents? Punctures of the outer table of the skull, perforations of the jugular vein, heart, lung, pulmonary, blood vessels, hemorrhage into the chest cavities, wounds extending into the bones of the right hand, scrapes and bruises on the face, torso, and extremities. Blood alcohol concentration of 0.229, so she was just under 3 times. I mean, but Maddie was way more. I mean, almost a full, 0.6 more. All right, guys, any chance we could get those gifted 5 more memberships so I can donate the other 5 that I've got? We're just trying to get the month started off. Man, it just gives me so little hope. It's just the way that last month ended, and right here, it's just brutal. Abundant bloody mucoid material in the airways. Patchy hemoaspiration pattern in the pulmonary parasemia, I think. Paraschema, I think is what it... Parenchyma, right? So probably just from being stabbed in the different arteries and veins and airways and whatever, you're getting all this different stuff. There goes my stomach. Yeah, we know about it, Fox 5. You know, do you want to know something? You're not very interesting, all right? You just keep throwing stuff out because you want it to be... I've heard her talk about it. It's not mentioned in this document. Okay? That's it. I know what she said after she met law enforcement. It doesn't say that in here. It doesn't say that some of them were experimental wounds. I think what the word that they're looking for is, a hesitation mark. You know, when you kind of, you stab and, you don't quite keep going, and then eventually you go all the way in. All right? That's how it works. Yeah. Hey, Lankitor, you've said that. It doesn't... Nobody's helping, It's just very sad. But thanks for trying. In the content of this report, stains or stain patterns that are visually consistent with blood will be referred to as blood or blood stain. All reference definitions are taken from AAFS standard. So, I mean, Ethan Chapin was stab and incise wounds to the scalp, face, and neck, and then 1 to the upper extremity, and then 6 cuts on him, on his upper extremities. So that must be different, because 4 and 1 can't equal 6. So stab and incise wounds of the lower extremities, those are his legs, 6 of them. Perforations of the jugular vein, subclavian vein, and subclavian artery. Yeah, it seems like he did subclavian in 3 of the victims. There's 1 there. 1 and... Not sure if it... Yeah, subclavian on Kaylee. Subclavian on Madison. And then Ethan also had that right there. So on 3 victims, he hit the same vein. It almost seemed like he knew what he was doing. Yeah. Located on the south side of the bed, closest to the closet opening. Miss Goncalves was located on the north side of the bed. Both are covered with beige comforter. A white fleece item, which appears to be a blanket, is lying at the foot of the bed. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like 1600. Page 1600. Yeah. I don't know. See, it just shows you like when the big supporters aren't here, nobody else steps up. It's really difficult. And so that's why I get really nervous when I have big supporters, and on those nights where we make it, very few other people helped, and then tonight's one of those. Yeah, so this is the table next to the bed that Ethan Chapin was in, right there. We're just going over the case, Carl. Different things that I was reading. Trying to get to reach our goal. We need some sort of a challenge of some sort, maybe, that somebody will do. I don't know. It's been a struggle. See, obviously that's arterial right there. And, well, that one's more like, yeah, it's arterial. It's almost like straight on, though. And then this is where it kind of creates the little arc, you know. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to, look at all that. That's crazy, though, right? Man, that was crazy right there. That's on the floor. Jeez, man, that means his head was on the other side, and it was just like pulsating out. So this is the room. That's exactly what they just described right there. See that? And lying on her back, Goncalves is partially lying on top of the right arm, right shoulder, and upper torso of Miss Mogen, as depicted. We're way short, Carl, but hey, you know, any amount would help out. Thank you. Carl, we're basically over here. We're, let's see, 130. We're about, I mean, in reality, let's see. I'm just trying to do the math. Let's see. Well, that's not even accurate. We're probably 24 memberships short. That's how far away. It's been a long night. You know, I've had to ask multiple times to just dead air, nothing. Don't know why. We're trying to get the month started off. This is February 1st, and this is a month where I actually take 3 days off, and because of that, knowing how slow we are, I just think this is going to be, this might set a record this month. We'll see, though. We'll see. But if you want to help out, Carl, at least we get partially there. We've got some generous coffees, so we're kind of, you know, getting close to a decent level, but it's not required. The posture and proximity of the bodies of Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen can be best be visualized when the comforter is removed, as depicted. Wow, so this picture here shows there's no comforter or anything, and they're just on the bed, but we aren't going to see it. Not sure, Chicken Wing. YouTube doesn't allow some comments. Well, holy crap. Look at that. Carl comes in. Look at that. That's amazing. Thank you. And welcome all the new freaks out there. Very cool. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you, Carl. Thank you. Miss Mogen's left leg is extended from under the bed cover, and her left foot is on the floor. So that's kind of what I was trying to do in this scene. You know, when we look at the go upstairs. You know, so I do have her leg, you know, it's hard to see it in that picture, but her left leg is off the bed and kind of down. I don't have Kaylee on there at this point, but I used to have her there, but it didn't seem accurate. Where remember in the media where I think it was Mrs. Goncalves was saying that that she was sort of sitting up and hunched over in the corner. Well, it doesn't appear to be that at all, you know. But look at that. All those memberships because of Carl WC. Thanks, Carl. I don't know if you're still here or not. But... And there's Marty's Bar and Grill. Who sent in a bucket of coffee earlier, and a piece of debris is noted on the floor between the left foot and Maddie Mogen and the pillow and is indicated by the yellow oval. A swabbing of the debris as well as the debris itself was tested for presumptive presence of blood. The swabbing of this debris yielded a positive presumptive test blood at the scene, but the O-tolidine test conducted at the laboratory was weakly positive. It should be noted, I wish we knew what the debris was. It should be noted that there were no drip trails of blood noted on the bedroom floor. Drip trails are indicative of movement by a bleeding individual. Yeah, Marty sent me this music. He is right. Like, music is, everybody likes music, you know, their own music. But he sent me the Mark Cohn album, and man, it was peaceful. Sort of felt relaxed. But I always know that I'm going to be doing the show later, and it's going to be a struggle. So it ends up being tough anyway. Okay, I don't care, man. We don't bring up other YouTubers in here. Thanks. He doesn't know if he's done that sharp tack. He just throws out stuff a lot. But, you know, we just don't talk about him. All right? It's all sensationalism. It's okay. Yeah, he called me up one time. I said, okay, yep, well, you know, I don't know you, you don't know, you know, but it just sort of makes it, you don't really, I just want to keep arguing with different creators. I don't care if the pro-burger nutjob people don't like me, or the people who think that Tyler Robinson isn't the killer in Charlie Kirk's case. You know, those people are crazy lunatics, all right? All of them. And Tyler Robinson 100% is the killer of Charlie Kirk. There is zero doubt at all. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they're... But Gray, it's innocent until proven guilty, you bastard. Yeah, we know. But the facts of the case are so overwhelmingly strong, it wouldn't shock me a bit. The defense is doing all they can. They're trying different things. They're trying to do things to get, you know, a different prosecutor that maybe is a little bit more friendly towards getting rid of the death penalty. They're trying all these things. But when all the dust settles of all the crap that they're going to try, it wouldn't shock me a bit if Tyler Robinson pleads guilty in that case. And then I hope that they release the information that they had. Of course, it'll probably be similar, where you have to get FOIA requests. And the judge seems really amenable to, like, he would allow all of that stuff to be seen. It wouldn't shock me a bit if he allowed those documents out there. Hey, but thanks, Carl. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I don't know if you responded, but I just want to say thank you again for your generosity there. Very kind. Yeah, I mean, the same people that believe Candace Owens, the same, it's, Candace Owens is the same as a Kohberger. The same mentality, the same nutjobness, you know, no common sense, reason, logic. But a lot of people believe her because she's Candace Owens. Ooh, wow. Maybe he's just not listening. We all have to say it like that. Yeah, let's see. The left leg of Madison Mogen is extended from the bed. Drip stains, spatter stains. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's cool, Carl. I mean, nobody's required to do anything. I just try my best to get people to want to, support the channel. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I cover cases well, and it's very difficult in the current environment. Drip stains, spatter stains, transfer stains, and saturation stains are visible on the comforter. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's a lot of that. Like, so let's say Kaylee gets blood on her, and then she grabs something. That's transfer, and then spatter would be just, like you're stabbing and then moving the knife, and then blood just gets flung all over the place. Drip stains would be, there's a bloody source. I mean, it could even be a knife that's stationary, and then there's blood on it, and it's dripping off. It could be, and then the saturation stains are because there's so much blood, it goes into the mattress. I think that's exactly what they're saying there. And it's visible on the comforter and on the exposed bed sheets. Apparent strands of hair are also visible on the comforter. Apparent strands of hair are also visible on... Oh, yeah, I saw that. Man, I was looking at that. I mean, that was sick. That was... Here, let me see if I can show you that. I think it's right in here, like coming up. Next photograph, one of these next ones. Not that one. Right there. I mean, so that means they're still in the bed in this picture. It's weird, Like Madison's leg is sticking out right here. But let me, yeah, right there. See at the top there? I think that's hair from one of the victims. So when he was hitting their scalp, it literally cut off, incised the hair, and then it just became a clump of hair in the scene. I mean, and we've seen that a few different times, even. So this is exactly what it looked like when he was in there. We should maybe take a look at this over here. Like, what's going on there? Do you think that's the way it was? Or was that stuff maybe piled on top of... No, it couldn't have been there. You know what's weird is when you look at these pictures, it's almost like there's nobody in the bed, but there is. It just shows you, man, just one little, the way they film this stuff. I mean, even in this picture here, it's hard to picture where Madison is, you know, inside of that comforter. It's bizarre. It's difficult. Look at all that up there. And that's sort of like the headboard, you could call it. You know what I'm wondering is, see this right here? That's a pillow, right? And you notice how it's indented right here. And I'm actually thinking that Kaylee is right there, her head on that. And that's why she is kind of up a little bit and then sort of over the top of Madison. You guys see that? Notice how obviously there's something of weight on the pillow there. I didn't even realize there was a pillow up high like that. But obviously there's something right there. Notice the little, everything's kind of pointing into that area right there. Are you guys paying attention? Yeah, so there's obviously something heavier against the pillow right there, so it's a head. And so she's probably up higher, and Madison's head's down there. So that kind of makes sense then back in the day what Miss Goncalves was saying. Yeah, and that's why they have black there. They're covering, that's where her head is. That's got to be exactly what that is. And look, this one you can really see. Oh, wait, not with my face on the screen. Hold on. Get myself out of here. See, my head was right on it. There's the hair right here. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me go back up there again. I think with a wider shot, you might get a better... See that? And that pillow's up really high. And then there's like, spatter from here all the way up into that area. Yeah, what a monster. And see, there's that pillow again. Didn't even notice that until just now. So she's way over there on that. Yeah, there was nothing in the light bulb. And as a matter of fact, there's a person that made a big deal about the light bulbs, and they lied to their viewers because that's actually a mirror reflection inside the bulb. So both those portions that look like skin tone was really just one image. It's the same thing. And that wasn't, and the angle of it would mean that it wasn't the bed or anything like that. And it was also taken after the bodies were removed based on all the other photographs at the same time in the document. What the freaks are doing is doing a show. Really a big struggle tonight, but I think we sort of made it to like the minimum goal level on here, and then we had some nice support there in the coffees from let's see, from our buddy Marty. Wow, he sent me a couple of them. Thank you. Wow, I didn't even see that pop up on there. And then we also had from Kimby, Lisa Valenzuela, and Hillary. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, at least coffees don't take 30%. They take like 2% or some small number. So that's cool. Now somebody just sent me something on an update on Tyler Robinson. Can we look at this thing really quick? I don't know if it's really, if we don't know about this yet. Prosecutors won't show Charlie Kirk video at hearing if defense agrees to stipulate. You guys want me to read this really quick just to see what the hell they're talking about? The state won't show a video of Charlie Kirk shooting at the next hearing under one condition. The defense must stipulate many witnessed the shooting and a prosecutor's adult child isn't a material witness. Tyler Robinson is... Okay, I see what they're doing. Tyler Robinson is charged with capital murder in Kirk's... Oh, yeah, so that's the next hearing is still about whether or not to remove somebody. Jeez. Yeah, well, the coffees show up on the screen, too, so that's cool. But I just want people to do whatever is convenient for them. Sometimes it's, you know, a little, it's kind of fun inside the chat where people are supporting the channel and, you know. Yeah, let me go back over some of the, we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll do that at the end. I just want to. Wow. So that's on the door. That's transfer. So that looks like that's going to be Kohberger. And that's kind of high. So that must mean he must have blood probably on his left shoulder or so when he's exiting this room, right? Because it's not going to be Xana. It's not going to be Kaylee. It's not going to be Madison. It's Kohberger. And he wouldn't have put that there on the way into the room. So it's got to be when he's leaving the room. And let me zoom in on that again. See, logic, reason, common sense. So right here, you could probably see it sliding. And then, you know, when you kind of go on a corner, it builds up. I think that's exactly what you see right there. It's like it's sliding across, but it's kind of tight against the door. And then it goes and it leaves a thicker amount on the corner. It could all, I mean, I guess it could also be that, you know, it, like you hit there and then sort of swung it out to the left. But I think the door is open about how it was open. And that darkness there could actually be something else, maybe like what that is. But I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out an idea. Yeah, that's blood in there for sure. Yeah, I mean, just look at this, you guys. I mean, that is insane. Right there. How did that get over there? That's not even arterial. That's like he was swinging so hard and just flinging. I mean, that picture right there is so telling. Look at all of this way over here. That's crazy. And then way up, even up into this area. You know? That's insane. Hey, good night, Lanky Tor. Thanks for your support in here. Trying to help out in there. That was cool. Thank you. Yeah, so again, there's that pillow. I didn't know that. That's weird. So it's like a headboard that's a pillow. Where are you at, Lisa Valenzuela? I haven't seen you in here. Okay, so there's the knife sheath. And her leg then is coming out over here. And so that's Madison. Probably I think her head is right around in this area. And Kaylee's head's right up there. That's interesting. I didn't notice that indentation. So that's definitely where her head is. So it is higher than Madison. So maybe that's that whole kind of leaning over thing that they kept talking about. Yeah, so it's upside down. See, now the victims are out of the room at this point. You know, and they're just measuring different things in the room now. Right back to that door again. Oh, you just haven't been commenting, Lisa. So I wouldn't know. Usually you comment on this case. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys can pick, maybe Zozo picks 2 and you get 1, or maybe why don't each of you pick 1, and then why don't you guys do something where you narrow it down to like 2 or 3 people on the final one. So each one of you pick 1. And then on the final, the third person, why don't you narrow it down to 3 people and then just do a little spin-off or something, like just do something where, you put in, maybe you put 2 that you like in, the other one puts 2 and they like in, and then you do kind of a random spin. But if you think one's way better than the other one that you want, just do 1. Or maybe each of you just pick your next favorite, and then maybe you give me the name and I do a spin for you, and I'll just tell you which one. How about that? Maybe this next year we'll try to make it bigger. Maybe put 10,000 in there. I think there's nothing, such a cool thing to be able to help pay for education for the upcoming criminal justice people. We've already got 4,500 in there. And by the way, if you missed the beginning of the show, this is all last year. Look at this amazing list here. Texas EquiSearch, we sent 3,500. Wounded Warriors, 1,000. RAIN, which is Violence Against Women, 3,000. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 4,021. Ethan Smile, that's the scholarship for Ethan Chapin. Bull.org, our scholarship fund for the Fallen Freaks, we put 9,700 in there last year. And then Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, 1,500. Made with Kindness, that's the charity for Madison, Mogen, Kaylee, and Xana, I think. 1,500. And then Tunnel to Towers, 500. Libby Nabby Ballpark, 1,000. American Online Giving, 500. Sherry Black Foundation, 1,180. Project Lifesaver, 1,000. Red Cross, 500. And Intermountain Forensics for identifying Jane and John Doe's, 15,300. Isn't that amazing? All right. Good job, freaks. See that without you guys. Yeah. Okay, well, whatever you want to do. I mean, it's up to you guys to whoever wants to pick. And I'm just saying, if you want, you guys can both put in 1 extra that you each like, and then I'll just spin and tell you which one won. That way it gives a chance for somebody else, Yeah, but all of you guys are what make it happen. That's why it's kind of difficult on nights where it's just like, yeah. Tonight was okay, though. Oh, wait, how come they're back? Okay. So there's the bed. So that's right where Madison, and then her leg was off the edge there. And see, if you notice, there's no bodies, obviously, in the room. Right here, they're just covering up like a lot of blood that was on the mattresses. And then I think coming up here is where they use the light bulb reflection. These true crime sleuths, they're so sleuthy. Super duper sleuthy. Let's see, where is it? I can't remember which number it was. I actually found it. I thought it was, maybe it's like 1932. Yeah, by the way, look at this right here. See, these are classic, like cast off right here. And see, in this situation, the blood came in from left to right and went that way. This one's going this way. This one's going this way, and then like that. And this is this is probably the same area. Yeah. So there's something. It seems like it was up high and it went boom, 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 and almost kind of like it was sort of in here, wherever it was where it flicked off. And look at that one, see? Coming in like this, 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 this. So it's all coming from upper left. Wasn't it like 1932? Let me see. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, that was luck. Yeah, so these are the ones that the super sleuthy, yeah, so let me show you up here. Watch. Yeah, it's not that one. I think it's the next one. Actually, I went out and found what they were using. No, it's up higher, excuse me. Okay, see that one? So it's up higher than that. So they started on this one, right there, okay? So you zoom in, and we kind of went over this the other day. But if you notice, see the bottom portion? That's just a mirror image of the top portion. And that's how it works on lenses like a sphere like this. So see this square, this light here? And it's always blurrier on the bottom for some reason. Don't know why. But see that? That's the reverse. And then there's this little white thing, and that's right there. And then here's the skin tone. It's right there. So you can literally just remove this whole section here. It's irrelevant to the, so that, I guess you could actually probably go from like here, but you just remove the whole thing. And then the whole image is just right there. This is not a reflection of the bed either. If that's a person, it's likely the person with the camera, or it's just something on the ground. And you know why I think it might be something on the ground? Watch. I'll zoom down over here. That's the same exact spot. See, there's the white thing. But now that doesn't look like a person anymore. You see that? It's got a pink color to it, but it doesn't look like a person. And then you go down to the next one, and let's see, right there. And see, again, that's the same exact spot. See the white, and, it's a little different angle. But see that right there, there's a skin tone, but it's really narrow. And then there's something right there. So it's not Madison and Kaylee on the bed, but boy, does that sell, man. If you're making a video, maybe I should try doing that. But I think a lot of you would be ashamed. So there's no way I would do that. Well, you guys, let's see if we can get one last little, if you can out there, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. If not, doesn't have to be a perfect night or anything, but I appreciate all the other support that we got on the outside. I just try to get YouTube, and but the coffees and everything kind of made up for it. So it's been a decent night regardless. So I have to say that. Yeah, super sleuthy. That's what these guys are, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I wonder if there's a way to figure out what that pink object is. You know, so if we went up here, right, and you see that, and you know, let's see, what happens if we rotate this around like that? And then what if we go up to the previous? Go up to one more. Let's go to the one that, this one. It's almost like they put a light up on the ceiling because it feels like that's a wall there. And, you know, you got to kind of have to curve it back out. We did something the other day that I think had the reverse engineered. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. So let's take a look at these. I think those are poisonous, aren't they? Like you can. All right, so this is an example of another bulb, and see how there's this, and then the mirror part of it's right there, or like that is this, and I don't know where that portion is. Maybe it's right over there, just off the screen. That's another example of a light bulb reflection. And then this is what it was saying. That's all there is in the image, is this. But see how these are the three different bulbs? That's obviously the same exact thing, right? But see how that's not really, doesn't look like a person. This one looks like a person, right? It looks like an eye, a nose, an ear, the hair up there, right? We all see that. But then you look at this one, which is the same exact thing, and it's not a person anymore. So this could just be pareidolia up here, where it just looks like a human. And then this is the version that was out online. And look how disgusting this is. They put all this red in there to make it look like there's blood on a face. Absolute garbage, you know. And this is the right hemisphere. And this is what it would have looked like this. Apparently, they kind of, like ChatGPT, sort of unwound the spherical reflection. That's the right hemisphere. And this is the left hemisphere. And notice how it's the same. I mean, the light and everything, so they flipped it around to get it correct. So this is what it would have looked like. So is this just somebody that's holding a pillow and there's a photograph being taken at the same time? I don't know. And this is the full 360-degree unwrapped. So kind of see how that weird shape that it's got? God, hold on. What if I take this? This is gonna be weird. So what's the name of that thing? Output. God, what if we take this and bring this into here? Does it do it? Let's see. Got it. Okay, what if we throw that in there? Does that work? What kind of file can it be? It's got to be a JPEG. Let me try to let's see what happens. This might be pretty interesting. Hold on a second. The more you know, the more you can be creative with something. see, image size. Yeah, let's leave it there. Where'd it go? Oh, gotta hit the button over there. There it is. I was hoping this could be like it could be 3D and look at it, but it, you know, like this one, it looks similar.
Yeah.
See, if you look at that and you go to that view, see that look there? That's really what it looks like, the whole image. So I was hoping that this could be similar to that, but it's not. I thought it would make it into a 360 degree, like we're in the sphere looking around. That would have been pretty sweet. Maybe if I made it bigger. Clear it out. Let's see what happens. So this is, yeah, what size is an 8K 360 degree image? So it is. All right, so image size, width. Let's get rid of that. So width is, well, here's what I'm going to do first. Before I change the size, I'm going to get rid of everything else on here. Who knows if this will work, but let's just see. So I take this right there, and then image crop. All right, then do image size and make it, let's see if I go width 7,680. It's close, so I get rid of that now and then make this 3,840. All right, like that. Let's just see what happens. View, get rid of all those little. All right, and then file, save as. This could be really cool or it could be absolutely nothing. All right, so now that we have that right there, let's bring it back in. Wow. 360 photo. Does it let me move around or? Oh. Oh, there we go. Hey, I'm sort of in there. Let's see. Does anything make sense? Blur your, squint your eyes. I mean, that does sort of look like a person, right? Yeah, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? That's crazy. So we're actually able to warp it ourselves. That did work out to be cool. Let's see if we can just sort of figure out what we're looking at here. I don't know, I'm just kind of squinting my eyes. You guys obviously don't find it as interesting. Maybe that's the window there. See, that's the bulb. So what if we keep it right there and just sort of look around? I was looking over there to see if anything looked familiar. And I guess it could have been the daytime. And that's a window light that... I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here. I mean, that's the correct orientation right there. So... you'd almost think like that looks like paint, you know, some images on the wall or something, and then, but, you know, who knows? Maybe it's, I mean, the real image, I think, cuts off like right there. All right, you guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you found that mildly interesting. Thanks for everybody helping out, who helped out to get to the goal. Very few people. Got Richard Watts, Bryce Productions, then Chris H, and then Jim Lawn. Jim Lawn gifted a membership. Then Chris became a new member. Then we had D Victor gifted one. Then Chris gifted one. And then Lanky Tor, 72 months, 6 years. And then Lanky Tor gifted 5. Then Simple Life Days gifted 1. Then Jim Lawn gifted 5 because he did a challenge. And then Diane Keenan. And then Ilian. Just a little. And then Jim Lawn. And then Jenna gifted a membership. Then I gifted 5. Then Jim Lawn gifted 5. Then Carl gifted 20. And that was it in there. And then we had Marty did 2 buckets of coffee. And then Hillary and Kimberly did buckets. And then we had Lisa Valenzuela. All right. Thanks, everybody. Anyway, so the interesting part at the beginning of the show was, if you missed it, was the, let's see, was the fact that there was on the way up the stairs here, when Officer Warner got there, the smear stain is right there of Ethan Chapin's blood. And there's this 12-pack sitting on the counter there. And so what this shows is, so we know that even when Nunez got there, he couldn't have left it there. And so it eliminates every single other person from leaving it there other than possibly Hunter. Okay? Or Kohberger. You know? So then there's this 12-pack here. You know, did Hunter put it there when he went to go check? Like it was on the steps or something, and then he moved it and placed it there. And then, because there's no way somebody's leaving a transfer mark from their hand on a rail that's sort of behind a 12-pack. You know, it's like there's almost no chance to do that. So that probably wasn't there. However, was there when Nunez got there. So it would have to be that Hunter Johnson put that there, or somebody else put it there. Because remember how they all sort of went upstairs? You know, Dylan and everybody went upstairs even before law enforcement got there. So it could have been when Dylan and Bethany and Hunter had to go upstairs when they're on the 911. We have to, remember that? They go upstairs, and maybe they put it there at that point so that they could all get up and down. And then when law enforcement got there, and it's up there. And then they removed it later. They might have even have asked them, hey, did you guys remember moving the 12-pack? And they said, yeah. So they removed it. That's why it's not in the photographs. If it was there, they would have left it there for the photographs, but they were told that it was put there. So they go, oh, let's remove it now, right? Doesn't that make sense? So that they wouldn't take the photograph without it there if it was there. It would be part of the crime scene. But if somebody put it there, and they said, oh, yeah, I put that there when we walked up the stairs, they probably would remove it so they could get a look of the area the way it was when the crime actually took place, right? I think that makes some sense. Anyways, thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. You guys are really kind. You know, at least we got out of the gate in February, you know. I put out a video today. I don't know if it really didn't do well at all. I'm not sure. It's weird. You know, it's weird that you do a video and you get 60 people, and then when you do a live stream, you get 300 watching. And it's like, why didn't the video get that same love when it was put out? Don't know. Now, let's see how many views. Got up to... let's see. It's got to 3,000 views, which isn't that great. And it got 2 subscribers and 330 hours of watch hours. So that video might make like $10 or something. So 10's better than 0, right? Gotta look at it like that, I guess. Yeah, I think that's about right. So it looks like coffee takes out probably, you know, let's see, percentage-wise, let me think. Yeah, so I think it takes out... That's hard to figure that out. Let's see. 19. So maybe something like 7 or 8. Yeah, maybe 7 or 8%, but not 30. So that's all right. All right, thanks everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow. All right, so thanks again for watching. And as I always say, until next time, you want to do, please, fly over, please, the ocean drone. Oh, the ocean drone? You guys want that one? Let's see, I can do that. I think that would be kind of peaceful. That feels good when we do that one. You want to do that? That does have a nice, peaceful feeling. Let's see. Where the hell is it? It doesn't seem to let me. There it is. There you go, Carl. It's right there. There's his fish. Yeah, I used a drone and goggles that you can actually fly around like you're a bird. It's pretty cool. That's Waldport. slow it down a little bit. Yeah, congrats, Lexi. I just realized I was on 760, man. This is way clearer than that. Look how clear that is. I had it on like the really crappy resolution. This is high res. Should I start over? It's so much better. I travel, but I don't do weddings anymore. I used to do weddings. Look at that right there. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I don't swim where I'm food. I think Zozo probably even feels that even more than I do. Living in Australia. Just a nice little snack for... Oh yeah, Walport's amazing. I hadn't been there. I had never been there until... the last 2 years, where this group of friends, we all go there. But look at that. I'm probably a mile out into the ocean at this point. Oh yeah, I do fish. I actually do kayak, bass fishing, fly fishing, etc. I have a pedal kayak that I got like a year ago. It's pretty good. That's an old town. PDL 106. I actually follow a seagull here in a little bit. Like I'm one of them. When you wear those goggles, it's so amazing. You actually feel like you're flying. You're just sitting still, but you're doing everything. So I'm sitting in a chaise lounge chair, whatever you call them over there, and I'm just have these goggles on, and my drone's out in the middle of the ocean doing whatever the hell I want it to. Cool or what? how big that seagull is, man. That's like a turkey. Look at that thing. You could eat it. Well, there you go. There you have it. Yeah, this that was 2024, and then there's these other. You know, we've got these other. We went out. I went out there again. We had the same trip. Went to the same place. So I think here's like last year was just crazy storm. Look at this thing. It was nuts. I mean, that's just wind. Look at the wind just howling, but the drone just stays right still. But look at that. Look at the surface on there. Just whoosh. It's totally, it's crazy. And that's the wind just shaking the camera. Just can't even keep. It was too much. It was like 50 mile an hour. Look how dark it is, too. Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at this one. This is what I actually made still frames of this video. And I made it into paintings. Or not really paintings, but look at that. And that's right out of the camera. That's the craziest shit you've ever seen right there. Look at that. I made these still frames, put on the wall. Tell me that isn't cool right there. I mean, that is freaking amazing. Maybe I'll do another video, you know, make another flyby drone shot, you know. Yeah, we still have 203 people watching. That's pretty crazy. So there's that. There it is out there some more. A lot more stormy, though, in this one. Look at that. Look at that. And you wouldn't want to be in a boat in that crap. I mean, look at this right here. Just... Oh, yeah, maybe I'll sell that. Sell those like merch or something. They're not really paintings. I mean, they're pictures on a... Let's see if there's that one. That's another one coming in. That's what it looks like starting off. And then, yeah, I mean, look at this. It came all the way out to there. What was that in there? Almost seemed like there was like an animal. I don't know. Look at that. Stormy. I like the stormy ocean. That's amazing. Look at that. I mean, just that would look great in a picture on the wall. Just look at that. You know, it's just sweet. I tried to follow that one. Now this might be a good one. There we go. That was another one of the other nights there. Look at that. I'm just kind of skipping around. This is one I have on the wall right there. Look at that amazing shot. But it's this one, the one I have on the walls, right? Like just like that. And I sort of use filter to brighten it up a little bit, but I think I need to make a part 2 of my video. What do you guys think? Well, it's hard to crash DJI drones, but the United States just banned them. The new ones. The United States, that's such a stupid decision. They don't have, there's nothing, you know, all they have to do is look at them. They're just a company selling drones. But look at that, man. That's just roiling. Let's see, I think I have one more here. Oh yeah, look at that. See, that's amazing looking, isn't it? Even with the lights on in the houses, it's just cool. You know? Like it's getting kind of dark out, but you can see the lights. It's just really kind of ominous. Something's coming, you know? Look at that. That's amazing. That's the full screen look. Pretty awesome, right? Well, anyways, you guys, I'm going to get going. So thanks for being here. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking checked ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Thank you for watching Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we use logic, reason, and common sense to investigate true crime cases. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Bye.
Good night, Notorious Nance, the legendary Notorious Nance.